Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're just going to gist because there's this trending topic that everybody's talking about, and people have been sending it to me asking me, Precious, are you not going to talk about this? Well, I have a whole bunch of people that are trying to help me grow my channel. So they send me these things and they give me topics all the time, bless their hearts. But anyway, we were minding our business, I think last weekend. And all of a sudden, whenever I'm scrolling on social media, all I'm seeing is this man that is having a 60th birthday and his two wives that have turned the dance floor almost into a wrestling ring. I started digging deeper and I found out a few things. So I'm just going to gist you guys about what is happening. Then we draw out some lessons, because while I was watching it, it was some things that were popping in my head about relationship and marriage and things like that. So it was a rich man, a car dealer in Lagos. I'm not going to bother with their names. During the party, we saw two women that were fighting for his attention or supremacy, whatever you may call it. One was in pink, one was in green. So we're going to call them the pink lady and the green lady. At that point, we don't know who is first. We don't know who is the first wife. We don't know who is second. We just know they were fighting for the man. So we know they were both wives. At a point, we saw the man's child crying and they were consoling her. It was literally tears running down her face. You can tell she's so hurt probably by the situation of the parents. Then we saw this lady in pink, very beautiful lady, tall, light skin, very close to the man, showing a little bit of possession to the man. And then we saw another lady in green, also equally beautiful, but darker skin, walking around, almost trying to snatch the attention of the man from the pink lady. And it became kind of a public spectacle. Nobody's talking about the 60th birthday. All we're talking about is the two wives. And whatever happened, it's not really something to laugh about. It's kind of shameful because they've kind of taken over what should be a good celebration for the life of this man. That's what happens when men marry two wives. So men insist that polygamy is the way to go because our forefathers did it. They still don't understand. It simply doesn't work. It doesn't work. Not in this day and age. Times have changed. And even for the forefathers they think it worked for, it may not have worked. It may just be that women were not empowered at that time, so they don't have a say. We come from Nigeria. We all know what kind of system it is. But anyway, back to the story. They were fighting, and I'm going to insert clips here and there so you can see for yourself. And this one will come and kiss the man, the other one will come, and at a point they were dragging the man by hand. It was really, really something. This is what we saw all over social media. Now, this is the backstory. I saw it on a few other people's posts, and even Obodo TV also talked about it. So, gathering it from all these other sources, this is actually the story because a friend of the family talked about what actually happened. And we're not going to take our word for it. We're just still going to say allegedly. This is actually the backstory. The lady in pink, whom everybody was condemning, thinking she's the troublemaker, because during the party, she wouldn't smile, she was angry, you can see it in her face, she wasn't budging. Meanwhile, the lady in green was a little bubbly, trying to dance, trying to tell her in so many ways. Her body language was like, chill, we can share the man, no problem. But the lady in pink her body language was like, no, I'm not sharing nada with you. Get out of here. So people were saying that the lady in pink was the troublemaker. But now the backstory have it that lady in pink is the real wife, first wife. And she's been married to this guy for over 30 years. They have 4 kids together. The lady in green dated the guy long time ago. And after dating the guy, she left the guy and married her father's friend that took her to abroad, I believe Europe, where she got her papers. And eventually that marriage didn't work out. She divorced. And I think they said allegedly she has 3 kids by 3 different men. I'm not sure. That's what they said. That's the lady in green. So after that, her marriage didn't work out in Europe. She started looking to get a land or get a property in Nigeria. And she was introduced back to this man that she had dated long time ago. So after they were introduced, the man started helping her to either get a land, build a house, whatever. But at some point, they rekindled their love and started a relationship. So now, this guy was said that with the first wife that he married, the one in pink, they had a wonderful marriage. This man, they said, is actually a God-fearing man, treated the wife well. That people were even saying that, oh, this wife must be holding him with juju, because back home now, when a man treats their wife well, some people will say it's juju, because they're used to a messed up system where women are treated badly. But anyways, they said, they were in a good relationship. The man made money. They were living good, and all of a sudden, and they had a relationship where they were close. There was no secrecy. They saw each other's phone. And so it was now reported that after some time, the woman, the pink woman, the first wife, started noticing the man was sneaking around a little bit. You know how women can sense this thing when your man is talking to another woman, you can feel the vibe. And, started noticing the man was being secretive and stuff like that. But she wasn't sure. But eventually, it now came out in the open that the man wants to marry another wife. She was confiding in one of her friends, and that friend was telling her, oh, if he wants to marry another wife, let him, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, she didn't want that. It was reported that just this August, that this man actually went and paid the bride price for the second wife, allegedly. That's the woman he dated way before even meeting the wife. They paid her bride price, not even weeks before this party, the party that they were fighting in. So this second wife showed up in the party and started trying to take over, wanting to front herself as if she's been there all along. That's how come people thought maybe the two wives have been there all along. And they actually termed her the calmer person, because she was the one smiling, wanting. Of course, she was smiling when she's the one intruding in the marriage. So now it makes sense why she was so calm and she didn't care. Let me bring out one of the lessons I want to bring out. Things are not always as they seem. Why? You see now, the one that people were condemning, she turns out to be the victim. She's the one that had been with this man for 30 years, had 4 kids, and all of a sudden, a woman comes from nowhere and wants to share that spot with you. If it's you, how would you feel? Anybody will feel angry. Anybody will feel that way. I now understand why she was so uptight and so upset. It makes sense. What I don't understand is why she even bothered to attend the party. Maybe she should have stayed home and just let the man have his thing. But then she will also feel like, I've suffered with this man, I've stayed with this man, I've paid my dues. All of a sudden, this second woman will come and shine with him. So it's really one of those things you pray that it just never happens to you, because nobody knows what they would do if they're in that position. It's just sad. My heart goes out to the pink woman. Yes, because I can't imagine being with a man for 30 years, going through thick and thin, and all of a sudden somebody will come from nowhere. It's not like that we're fighting, we're not getting divorced. A woman will just come from nowhere and want to come and start sharing that spot with me. Oh my God. But anyway, that's lesson 1. Lesson 2 that I want to bring out is, if you look at that man, everybody have been saying on social media, he looks older, he looks older. He just turned 60, but he looks older than 60. So people are using that to say, look at what you have brought upon yourself. Are you really happy? Are you really? Because if you're living it up, you should be looking younger, looking well. But he was looking much older. He wasn't, to me, he wasn't looking like he's in charge. These 2 women were pulling him up and down. He looked almost like he didn't know what he's doing. And so when you tell me this is a millionaire or a rich man that is having his 60th birthday, I expected a little more of, agility, a little bit in control, showing a little bit of leadership, being able to put those women in place. But he wasn't doing that. He was being pushed up and down. So I don't really understand. It didn't make sense to me. The way he was described, his status in society doesn't coincide with his behavior. Then again, maybe he was just embarrassed. When you're doing these things, all this cheating, all this bringing another woman, sometimes it's really to your detriment, not worth it at the end of the day. Everybody was still looking at that man as somebody who is not at peace. If this could happen in a party, what goes on at home? So think about it. Is it really worth it? Your peace of mind, is it really worth it? That's number two lesson. Another thing that I want to point out is a good man can change. From what they said, that this man used to be, very God-fearing, very nice to the wife, takes care of, very family-oriented, that he even used to cook for the wife and things like that. He doesn't sound like a man that will all of a sudden bring another woman into the home. So that means something changed at some point. You that you're living with your husband happily, does it mean now that tomorrow your husband can pop up with something like that? Well, it's possible from what we're seeing, if everything that is said about this relationship is true. So, how do you avoid it? My dear, the only thing that I can say is when your man is good, treating you well, make sure you are staying on top of it. You're praying. You're staying glued to that man. Don't give room for somebody to enter. Because sometimes when things are so good, we tend to relax, take it for granted. You don't know when there's a loophole. Maybe you're working too much, you're not spending time with the man, or the man is traveling alone, you decide to stay back and he keeps traveling alone. So anytime you can bridge the gap, bridge the gap. I know it's not always easy, and I know you're not responsible for what a man does, a woman does. Everybody should be able to have self-control. It's not for you to follow them around. No, that's not what I'm saying, because I do know that anybody that wants to do something like that will do something like that no matter what. However, what I'm saying is when you stay close, you can be able to detect when there's a little change and begin to mount pressure before it gets out of hand. Like maybe after the first conversation with that strange lady, you notice there's something different. You'll be able to say, honey, what is going on? And you'll be able to, maybe get counseling involved, nip it in the bud if you can. This is just me coming out with suggestions. I don't really know. Another thing is prayer. Pray, 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 because some of these strange women don't come empty handed. I'm not saying that this woman did something to the man, but I've heard that some of them get into juju just to trap a man. So you never know. Bottom line is prayer. Pray, pray, pray that no strange woman, no strange man will come into your home and start changing the outlook or the mindset or the feelings of your spouse. Just saying that, oh, I married a good man, apparently from this story is no longer good enough. Or saying I married a good woman is no longer good enough. People can change. Another thing, should you build with a man or should you not build with a man? This is a question that nobody have ever been able to answer. A lot of people say don't bother building with a man because we see a lot of examples. Look at Annie Dibia, Medochie, AY, look at all of them. You finish building, the man makes money, and voila. The problem is there's no way to predict, because in as much as we see all those men, there are also men that made money and spoiled the wife silly for sticking with them when they were nothing. So it's 50-50. How would you know a man that will do good when they make money and the one that after building with you may suffer? Prayer, the spirit of discernment. I go back to prayer because otherwise there's really no other way to know. And if you say, oh, I'm not building with anybody, you may lose out on a wonderful life you may have with a man that will later make money and treat you like a queen, like Chairman Davido. You never know. The only thing I can advise is prayer, prayer, prayer. Ask God for spirit of discernment, because if God tells you, okay, go this route that is good for you, God is never wrong. That is the only thing that is actually really guaranteed. Pray before you marry, especially if it's somebody you're going to struggle with. Another lesson I want to draw out is while you're building with a man, make sure you're building yourself on the side. That woman in pink, you now begin to wonder, does she have to stay and take it? Look at May Edochie. May worked. May didn't want to be numbered and is working out for her. Everybody know what they can and cannot accept. That lady in pink, obviously, she cannot accept polygamy, but she's still there. Why is she there? Is it that if she leaves, she may starve? Sometimes it's actually mindset. Some women are groomed to believe that men are polygamous in nature. And if a man comes up with, I want to marry a second wife, due to that mindset, they will accept it. Some women think like that. I've met a friend that said the mother told her that men will always cheat or marry another wife. So she was already groomed to accept it. So that could be the case. But then I don't think that's the case, because she didn't accept it. She wasn't accepting of it. You can clearly tell it's a no-no for her. But the question is, why did she continue to stay? It could be that she feels like, where am I going? I'm already older, because she's probably in her 40s or 50s, you know, where am I going with 4 kids? What am I going to do? Will somebody else marry me? I might as well stay. Some women may be like, I've already built with this man. I don't want another woman to come and enjoy my sweat. Really, if you look at it though, I would say consider your peace of mind. There's no amount of money that can buy peace of mind. No matter what you have built or didn't build, if you feel like this thing is going to eventually take your life because you're thinking you're not at peace, you're angry all the time, it may be better that you walk and go have peace somewhere, just to have peace. Yeah, build yourself while you're building with the man, not so you can have plan B, but so you can survive. Because sometimes it's not even just about having plan B. What if the man business collapses? You need to be able to help out in the family. It's always good for you. I don't know if there are women that still believe in just being totally dependent on the man. Is not a good idea, because you never know tomorrow. It's always good to have something doing on the side, or at least have a little savings. That way, if your life is at stake, either emotionally or physically, you'll be able to at least protect yourself and your children. That brings me to the end of this video. It was just a spectacle. It was crazy and a little bit funny, but I know for that lady in pink, nobody should be laughing, because that's her reality, and that is a very sad reality. People are making jokes of it, people are having fun online, but this is somebody's life, and I can't imagine what that woman is going through now. And then as for the lady in green, well, I don't know why some women feel like they can find pleasure, happiness by just inserting themselves into somebody else's home. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. Some people say that the women that can go off to be second wives and third wives are just as bad as snakes. They call them all kinds of names. They want to reap where they did not sow. They're gold diggers and things like that. And then there are also this other group that can see reason with them and be like, well, we are from Nigeria and polygamy is accepted. So if polygamy is accepted, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. So it's a debate that neither side will win. I for one, I don't believe there's never a way a man can love all the women equally. And women by nature, we're jealous, we're possessive, we want ours to be ours. So it's really something that I don't see how it will work, no matter what situation. Yeah, I'm sure there's always exception to the rule. I'm sure there are those few women that wouldn't mind. And let's not forget the societal stigma, the way they stigmatize divorced women in Nigeria could also come to play. Some women will stay for that reason, because they don't want to be termed divorced. There's a lot of complications involved in this. I just wish that people will let people know their intentions ahead of time. So that way, if it's something you can deal with. Let's say you're going to marry a woman, let that woman know, I believe in polygamy. So maybe one day I will want to take a second wife. So that woman can already make her own decision. Do I want to be numbered or not? It would be nice. And then for the women, if you're getting into a marriage, pray, 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 and ask God to give you the spirit of discernment. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And until next time, may God bless you. Bye.